Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. I think I've cut the intro a little bit short there, but we are talking about the Milton Keynes match yesterday. And joining me, I've got Neil. Hiya, Neil. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Mike. Good to see you again.
Good. Yeah, good to have you back on. And we have Andy as well. Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm all right. Pleased to be away from Milton Keynes.
At last.
Yeah.
So, always... we start with positives. It wasn't a goal in the last 5-10 minutes. So come on, boys. Well done there. That's amazing. How were you feeling pre-match before any of the lineups or anything? Neil, how were you feeling about this game? Obviously, it's against higher opposition. What was your thoughts?
Well, considering that we didn't lose to any League One teams in normal time last year, I was sort of thinking, possibly confident that we might sneak something. I had sort of seen that on their forum that probably they were going to, have 6 or 7 changes from the side that lost to Sheffield Wednesday on the Saturday. So I thought we were in with a chance.
Yeah, and Andy, yourself, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit like Cardiff last year in terms of it was a bit of a free hit. I thought it was going to be close, and because they've not made a great start to the season at all, and I think it was always going to be kind of quite close to the wire, and I was thinking maybe this is going to go to penalties, but unfortunately that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I mean, where you mentioned we didn't lose to any League One sides in normal time, we didn't win against any League One teams in normal time. We were undefeated.
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. Sorry, yeah, I forgot about the Pizza Cup. How can I forget about the Pizza Cup? That's my favourite competition. I'll take that back. That's good. Yeah, you see more positives. Well done.
Yeah, exactly.
So the lineup, I thought we would have a little change around. I thought we'd switch Enzio up and maybe give Harry a start. I got that wrong. But what were your thoughts on the lineup? Were you expecting an unchanged side, or were you expecting some changes in this one?
I thought that, that perhaps Omar might be out because he looked as if he was injured from Doncaster. So I was expecting that change, but I thought possibly Craig might have been out and Harry might have started in midfield. So I thought we'd probably only have a couple of changes.
Yeah. And Andy?
I thought it was pretty much a lineup that it was going to be. Matt's, from what I see, Matt's quite predictable. He will pick. He knows what his starting 11 are, and he sticks to it almost regardless of the competition. He's certainly not the type of manager that will squad rotate as such. He's more the type of, I'm going to play the players that I want and then maybe change it around a bit later. So when I saw the lineup was identical, apart from, as Neil said, maybe Omar not being quite fit, although it seemed absolutely fine. It was quite. I think it was quite expected.
Yeah, and obviously I wasn't there. You guys were there. And a nice, big stadium. Not many people in there, but it was a big stadium. How did that feel?
Phone box. There was. I think there was about 250 of us. I didn't actually hear the announcement when it came out, which we're always very rude about our PA system at Gowner Green Lane, but I thought the PA system, because there was nobody in the stadium, was virtually inaudible. So I heard them mention how many away fans, but I didn't hear it.
I think it was 2-2-6-3 with 2-7-3 from us.
Yeah.
I think Dan worked it out that was like something like 12 or 13% of the attendance. So like we're big time. So, but yeah, it not a huge attendance, but then they never are they? But it just seems odd to have such a big stadium, and it kind of it's that age-old story. Do you have the big stadium ready for when you get bigger? But then do you not lose the atmosphere? So is it not better to have a smaller stadium full up? Who knows? I'm sure more interesting, intelligent people than me think about that and work it out. But it's just a little thing. It just seemed odd that they squeezed them all into one section.
That was so that they could save on cost of stewards and things like that, and not have all the various bars and things open. So I heard that one of their sort of coordinating stewards sort of having a conversation with somebody. So,
excellent. But what did you think of the game? We have to talk about the game. What did you think about the game overall? So, Andy, if I start with you this time.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it wasn't a high quality game from either side. Played at a kind of a slowish pace to start off with. They had most of the possession, as invariably most opponents against us do, but as Matt quite rightly says, not about possession. Weirdly enough, I thought we were significantly better after we made substitutions. I think every player that came on actually probably did better than the player they replaced. It was bizarre, and I think to me the most telling was actually when John Barden came on. I think our defence looked shaky. I think Kobe goes off. Joe Kizzy moves into the centre, and Barden it's almost like he had almost like a reassuring influence on defence, and it was. I was pretty confident they weren't going to score a second after that. But yeah, it wasn't a high quality game. It was nothing like Cardiff the previous season, which was manic end to end stuff, really good football on display. This was just it reflected the atmosphere, which was really quite mainly due to numbers, but mainly because MK Dons just don't make any noise. It's really bizarre. You can tell the club has no history. The entire experience was probably the most sanitized I've seen, and it felt like that permeated on the pitch. So, I'd say probably overall fair result, but it wasn't a high quality game.
I think Neil, yours.
It reminded me of some of the games behind locked doors in COVID, really, in terms of the atmosphere. So, MK were very well organised. They were good slick passers, and they used their wing backs well. They put them right out on the touchline. They'd done their homework on us, so I think they had sort of worked out the way they were going to play us to sort of try and negate our threats, and that sort of largely worked. I disagree slightly with what Andy said, because I thought Omar had a good game when he went off.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I don't think that Kwame made any sort of impact when he came on. And I thought Craig had his worst game for us. I thought Craig was virtually anonymous in the until he went off. And and I agree with. I think everybody that came on did make a difference. It slightly changed the way that we played, and we had we kept it down a little bit more. We kept a bit more control, and we sort of up the pace a little bit. So perhaps it was getting cooler, but I think I agree with Andy. I thought we might sneak one and get to penalties. Bit of a payback for Doncaster, but it wasn't to be. But I agree. I didn't see them scoring another one.
It kind of felt like if the game had gone on for another 10 minutes, we probably would have scored. It was the momentum was, but the last 2 minutes particularly, momentum was certainly with us.
Yeah, but I think their changes made them worse, whereas our changes made them better. So I think that's why there was that sort of bit of a shift in momentum, probably for the last quarter of an hour.
I did notice one comment about the substitution for Kobe and then John coming on instead of the centre back that we signed. Only thing I'd say is Matt did say way at the beginning of the season he was well covered in centre back. So the two young centre backs we've signed are both sort of extras. I don't think he's actually intending to chuck him in at any point. And Joe can play quite happily in the centre. We've not seen him there very much, but he can play quite happily there as well. So that's it. League Cup we're out of again. We don't like that competition anyway. Pizza Cup is where it's at. Who was your player of the day though? Can we have a couple nominations? So if I start with you, Neil, first of all.
Apart from the one time he got turned inside out for their goal, Rob Milson I thought was absolutely class. There was one particular block that was really superb, and though their right wing was sort of having him for toast at times, he used his experience that guy just couldn't get past him without fouling. He used his body well. He anticipated the space that the guy was trying to run into. So I say Rob was sort of number one standout. And then again, they were overrunning us in midfield. But again, I thought Ali Smith had another good game. He is, I still think he's our pivotal midfield player. So those would be my two of
your two. Lovely. And Andy?
With Rob Milson, I cannot disagree with a single syllable that you said. I think you're absolutely spot on. Milson was clearly my player of the match last night. I think I want to say Barden, but even though he only played for a half as well, again, I just think he just settled down that defence really, really well. And actually, I think probably a fair nod, as again, Neil, as you said, to Omar. He was tireless in his approach. He wasn't getting a huge amount of joy, but the effort and the will was there. And I mean, it was. I thought Donovan last night kind of got a bit bullied out of the game, but Omar didn't. I'd probably go for Omar but definitely Rob Milson.
Perfect. I will put them up later on. Omar never wins it. I'm not going to go back and check, but he is probably the most nominated and hardly ever wins it. It's just an easy one. Omar. But I will do that later, and I will remember this week.
I do want to sort of make a positive, because you were saying about let's have the positives. Well, again, I think Kylian Kouassi, again, he's a man mountain for a boy who's so young. I don't know what they fed him on in the academy.
Dundo 2.0.
He really is. And nearly, the part that he played holding the ball up, juggling it with his head, turning, controlling, laying out the pass that nearly went to our potentially wonder equaliser in the 90th minute, was a bit of class there. I'd have liked to have seen him come on earlier for Donovan to play alongside Omar for a bit longer, because I think Matt is probably going to. I think he will get another forward in, but I think he'll stick with Kylian, because I think we're seeing potential there.
Yeah, I think Tope was again a free hit, and so Kylian was striker 5, or we're going to bring someone else in. So I still think we're one out there.
I think we can keep Kylian and be above the squad numbers because of his age and growth. So therefore, we can have an extra man in our squad, which might come in useful later on.
Absolutely.
I agree. I thought that was Kylian's best performance in the Sutton shirt for his cameo. And again, he was oozing confidence last night. And Matt mentioned about how he's going to see whether Kylian goes out on loan or stays with us. I actually think Matt, after last night, he's going to keep him rather than send him out on loan. I think he could be very, very useful, particularly when we're a bit thin on the ground come December and the injuries hit a bit more. But he was superb.
Who knows? We might see him play a bigger part on Saturday when we face Barrow. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Sutton United Talk Time on podcast, the Sutton Podcast. If you are new to the show, hello, and you are very welcome. Hope you enjoy what we do. It's a very simple format. We get a few people on to talk about the game that's just gone, and then we preview the next game coming up. We are available on most podcast platforms where you can listen, rate and review. If you find that we're not on your preferred platform, please let me know and I'll sort that for you. If anyone would like to support the podcast, you can find out how with more information on the website, which is www.suttonpodcast.com, and there's a tab where you can find out how to be a guest as well. Please find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok with the username @SuttonPodcast. Every like, follow and share is really appreciated. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you. I will be bringing in Taylor now, who is a Barrow fan, and regular listeners will know I love claiming credit for all sorts of random things. But since Taylor last appeared on the show, he's got a new job, moved house. So I'm going to take credit for that as well. Hello, Taylor. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Must be the happiest guest that we've had on in a while with the start you guys have had to the season. What's that all about? What happened?
I have no idea. I'm not used to the fact that we're actually winning games. So the way we're winning these games as well, it's mad. I can't get my head around it.
I mean, we would have taken credit, but Richie got himself injured before this. Is it before the season or first game?
Yeah, just in pre-season, he got a bit of a knock. So he's out for a couple of months, I think.
Yeah, that is a real shame because we love Richie.
Yeah.
So it is a real shame. But yeah, you must just be absolutely delighted with what's gone on so far. Because you did well. We helped you survive last year. So I don't know. Were you worried about the season going into it, or were you quietly confident with the changes that have taken place?
It's difficult because you look at the manager that comes in, you think, right, that's a great appointment. You think, right, this is hopefully the start of moving towards something a little bit better than what the last two seasons have been. But then you think, well, the last two seasons have been sort of fighting relegation. So you're like, well, is that going to be us again? Because it's difficult, obviously, when you're sort of in that for 2 seasons in a row, it's difficult to raise your expectations and think you can be a bit more than that. But so far so good, and hopefully it'll continue. But I think I was confident in the appointment. I think it was just the initial sort of the last 2 seasons have been fighting relegation, so it's sort of getting out of that mindset. It's the fans, the players, is everyone's associated with the club that needs to sort of get out of the mindset of doing a little bit more than just surviving, and hopefully sort of pushing up the table a little bit more. Which so far we seem to be doing all right.
Yeah, I think the red hot favourites, well, not red hot, but favourite Stockport on opening day, and we're all sort of getting our phones and having a little shake, going, "What the hell's happening here? They've got this wrong way round, haven't they?" That must have been amazing, and you also a little bit worrying at that penalty.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I've never been so glad to see a linesman flag and that decision to be overturned, because I think you never want to lose a 3-goal lead. To do it on the opening day would have been devastating. Like, to think we got in such a great position in the first half and we could have blown that would have been absolutely gutting.
Yeah, that would have definitely put a downward spiral on the season already. And then last night it was a penalty win against Blackpool. That must have been nerve-wracking and nice.
Yeah, it was. I think we did really well, actually. We weren't as sort of as free-flowing, I would say, as what we had been in the other 2 games. But I think that's to be expected against a Championship team who put out a very strong team, I have to say. A lot of players started that game and started at the weekend. So to match them, I thought, for the majority of the game was very, very encouraging. I think we more than merited that, taking them all the way to a penalty shootout, and brilliant penalties as well. Brilliant. Just no hesitation. They just slotted it away. I think obviously the one that we missed was unlucky. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but we had technically won the shootout before that penalty. It was decided that the keeper was off the line, but it was a bit debatable watching it back. So he did miss. I think a lot of pressure was on that, but ultimately we got the result and we got to celebrate twice. So that was all right.
That's always good. So your Are you making the trip? I know you did the 46 last year. Are you doing them all again this year, or?
I'm trying my best to. It's probably going to be a struggle this year, but I am going to try. So far I'm managing it. I am going on Saturday. There was a bit of questionable whether I was going to go. We weren't sure if a bus was going to run. But we've been given the okay, and we're going. So we're going to head down. Otherwise, it would have been a very expensive trip to stay over. So, but thankfully, I'm managing to go on the bus. So because there's no trains running, so that would have been a pain.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, we're going on the bus.
It's going to be a bit different to when you were last with us. There's been quite a bit of work, and you can actually have a drink at the club now.
Oh, that's all right, then, isn't it?
There's a bar and some food and all sorts there, guys. So, what are your thoughts ahead of the match? Any prediction for you? I don't want to put any pressure on you, but my last couple of away guests have all been right. So, just going to throw that out there.
I think I'm confident. I think we have every reason to be confident going into a game where we've beaten two of the best teams in the division, in my personal opinion. Teams I think are probably going to be up there against, and I have to admit, a team I think are probably going to be down towards the bottom this year. I think second season syndrome might kick in just a little bit, given you've obviously lost a couple of players as well. And I think we have every reason to be confident, but again, you got to be vigilant against teams like yourself. He's are going to make it an easy ride. I think he's going to rely on home form a lot this season to get sort of the magic 50 points in order to stay up. So it'll be a struggle, but I think we can get a win personally.
Okay, I'll come to you first, Neil, before Andy bursts because he wants to come back with something there, I'm sure.
After ruining the end of last season for us, I think Barrow owe us something, really. But I don't think the omens are particularly good because, Pete Wild was Halifax manager. We didn't do very well against Halifax. So I think he's not going to be surprised by us because he knows us very well. Yeah. So that might be... that might count in with favour. So I think it's going to be a tough one. We desperately need a win to get a bit of momentum and a bit of confidence. So it's not going to be easy. But last season, teams that started and came out the blocks and won their first two matches did end up down the bottom and vice versa. So don't want Barrow to get too cocky and carried away with themselves.
And Andy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't argue with 6 points out of 6, but I think the fixtures fell nicely for you for the first game of the season. Playing Stockport, first game of the season, is exactly the point you want to play them because they've got quite a new team. They're going to take a while to click. So getting 3 points there, there's not going to be many teams that will get 3 points there come, say, from October onwards. So that's great. Beating Bradford, on the other hand, I think is really, really good because I think that they're a very, very strong side. I would say that Bradford, for me, might even be the ones at the top of the table at the end of the season. So again, getting 3 points against them, fantastic. I don't think you're going to win on Saturday, and the reason why, and I'm not being harsh, it's a long journey. The weather is going to be absolutely boiling. It's going to sap the energy out of the players. I don't think it's going to be a classic game whatsoever. And just doing that journey and coming away with 3 points, I think it's going to be a real tough ask. I mean, I drive up to, I've been to Barrow, been to Holt Street a number of times. I mean, just driving up there knackers me out. I mean, I'm not a footballer, but it's such a journey, and those mileages do make a big difference. I mean, going to Stockport for you guys is a couple of hours. Mm-hmm. Coming down to Sutton, you're looking at like six or so hours. Mm-hmm. I presume the club will come down the night before, but even so, it still takes it out of you. So, I will hedge my bets on another draw for us, and I think that a draw will probably be a good result for us at this stage because I think we're still taking a bit of time to click in the same way as we did last season.
Yeah, I was going to say draw as well because I was thinking we're pretty much matching our results for the beginning of the season last year at the moment, and following that pattern would be a draw.
The caveat to that, though, of course, is all our games are away at this point this season.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I'm going with positives, Andy. Come on, leave me alone. Sorry, Neil, were you going to say something?
My heart says 2-1, but my head sort of says it's probably 1-1. And we'll probably get a dodgy penalty in the 88th minute, so that just to so there's a bit of karma with your penalty against Stockport.
So I don't think I've ever had one where all the Sutton fans are kind of going, "Oh yeah, it'll probably be a draw." So that probably means we're going to smash you 6 or 7. But no, thanks a lot, gents. I think we've kind of exhausted everything. Just a couple of last words, if anyone has anything. I'm going back to that Zoom meeting thing around the tables. Anyone have anything to add?
Yeah, did anyone notice how those people who went, how MK Don smelled like a farm?
That's because it's surrounded by farms. And
it was strange. It was the last 20 minutes. All of a sudden, it smelled like cow poo.
It's muck spreading time. Basically, is what happens is they get their tractors out and they spread the muck, and it's delightful. It is. I remember going to
that
Ireland
wouldn't be the word I would use, but I get your sentiment.
I remember going to Ireland as a kid and opening up the windows, going, "Yes, I'm in Ireland. Jesus Christ, shut those windows!"
It reminded me of Swindon, because Swindon, when last season, had a very, very odd smell. It smelt like a laundry, and again, I thought I was having smell hallucinations, but I'm glad you noticed it as well.
Oh, I don't think anyone couldn't notice it.
It
overpowering.
A big phenomenon, apparently, but it often smells like that. So I think it's because there is farmland around. But on that shitty note, I will end. I will end it. Thank you all for your time, as always. Taylor, I hope you have a lovely wasted journey down and back again. Guys, I'll see you on Saturday, possibly in the fan zone, because, guys, it is hoppy hour, which thankfully does not mean you have to hop to get a drink. I suspect it's a play on the hops of the beers, and it's $3.50 a pint between 12 and 1 in the fan zone and in the bars on Saturday. So everyone make your way to the fan zones. I will make an appearance. I'm not sure how many of the pints I'll actually drink, but
I hear there's new furniture in there as well.
There is new furniture in there, which is the furniture that AB was talking about and delighted with. And also, I'm going to mention it again because I did mess it up a little bit last time. Sarah's cake sale is on Sunday, not Saturday, which makes a lot more sense that it's on Sunday, again, where we don't have a match at 2:00. So do look at my tweets. I'll retweet it out, or her Just Giving page. It's a sort of a baker-thon thing she's doing for dementia. And as everyone knows, her tasty treats are lovely. I can't take any of them because of the sugar spikes. But anyone else, please indulge yourselves.
I'm going to try out and see what the 1898 is going to bring me.
Excellent. Lovely. Good stuff. Well, see you guys Saturday, and Taylor might see you on Saturday as well. Take care. Thank you all for listening.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
You.
United! United! United!